it's an incredible thing when you see people connecting with consciousness and it's instant. You see their hearts start to open. And I knew that all humans could benefit from this because it's just a natural progression from having a closed heart to having a heart that's open. To having a heart that embraces every aspect of yourself, to living in your mind where you're constantly judging and being violent with yourself. It's such a simple shift for humanity to embrace their hearts. I remember when I was a child, I always had this profound understanding of unconditional love. And I was always questioning everything because I could see that things weren't coherent. I could see that there was something very strange happening around me. And even though I came from an extremely evolved and incredible family, I had this need for a deeper understanding. And I believe that at some moment, I let go of my search for spirituality or understanding. I didn't even have an idea what spirituality was. And I went completely into the illusion, completely into being a yuppie and succeeding and being the best at everything. And then at one point in my life, everything was taken away from me, but everything. And when everything was taken away from me, the question started again. Why am I doing this? Why was everything taken away from me? Why did all these people die? Why did I lose everything? And I think that was a moment that, because I was suffering, I was in such a profound depth of pain, that I started to look again for something deeper, something more permanent, something that could sustain me, because I realized that everything external was fragile. The people I loved, the success I had, the money I had, it could disappear in a heartbeat.
I wanted to do something with my life. I knew I wanted to play music. My relationship with my cello is very special because when it came into my life, it taught me to believe in my dreams. And it's really good. My instrument, it feels like an extension of me.
3 years ago, I returned home after being away for 10 years. When I returned to Paraguay, I had nothing except my family, who have always supported me since the beginning. I didn't have a house. I never had children. My career was going nowhere, and so then I didn't know what to do anymore. I found myself in an emotional crisis, an existential crisis. However, I needed a job with discipline and goals that I could focus on now rather than thinking about the future. So my brother helped me out and gave me a job in his company. I started from scratch, learning everything about the business. So I feel that everything that happens in life prepares us for something greater in the end.
Dance for me represents movement, represents fluidity, represents the power to be able to adapt and the ephemeral nature of life.
Everyone's always looking externally for answers, but once all the rubbish and the programming and the fears and the stuck emotions start to leave, all the answers come from within.
Design the space. You're designing the space together. For me, teaching is an opportunity to discover just how I like to explore in my plays, I explore in my classes, and teaching gives me something back that I then put back into my plays, and it's all interrelated. And remember to work within those two extremes. It's a restriction of movement, so don't make it too big or too small. I was looking for something different. I tried various meditations, but I needed something that I could practice all the time. Not necessarily just when I'm meditating. Finding that space of peace. Not only when I meditate or when I'm in contact with someone who's doing it as well, but also to have a tool that I could use all the time.
I realized the only thing I could change was the suffering, and I could teach people how not to suffer.
I grew up in a place in Bogota called Ciudad Bolivar. It's in an area where displaced people come, mainly because of violence. I always feel like it's my home. Even if I leave for a long time, I feel like always going back there is like going back to my roots.
From the cube to the square, triangle, and circle.
Those are the shapes.
All right, listen very carefully, okay?
So I'm going to fly on an airplane to another country and be beside the sea. Do you know what the sea is? Tell me what it is.
The sea is water. That's a lot.
A lot of
A
water.
lot. Where the weather is warm.
I would like to go in deeper and just stop. And I feel it's time to stop and be with myself and to get reacquainted with myself.
Cheers to your adventure. Have a nice trip.
Cheers. Thank you. Thank you. You're going to make me cry.
Oh.
I think these 6 months are going to help me a lot in healing my body. I've always criticized my body, saying that I'm too big or that I didn't look pretty.
I've been practicing meditation, a system of meditation for 12 years, and I'm going to practice by doing the most intense process they offer that they like to offer to deepen the practice. And that process is like a residency, meaning you stay and live there with other people who are doing the same process, and it lasts 6 months. I am very excited and anxious and happy about doing this, and overall, for me, it means taking a big leap towards more love, more consciousness, more silence, more self-devotion, and being able to discover more about myself, which is the most, what I think is my greatest passion in life.
So we're coming into the 6 months, and it's a very, very busy moment. Everyone's painting the centre, we're getting all the irrigation working. Everything has to be absolutely impeccable. And the teachers are working so hard to have everything perfect so we can have all of the rooms set up, parents with children, partners in double beds, all the details. The centre will be absolutely pristine when the people arrive.
I think this is the most incredible experience anyone can give themselves. It allows you to stop everything you're doing and decide to go inwards and do that for yourself, because I think there's no better decision that a human being can make in life.
I really like this eyeliner. Yeah, it goes on really smooth. Look at that.
I feel like I decided to do my 6-month process now, after 15 years of doing the Isha system and at 40 years of
Return
age.
to her now, philosophy teacher, right? Actress, entertainer, the talented Patty Lopez.
I feel that my biggest attachment was my job. So just thinking taking a break for 6 months from my career. No, it wasn't in my plans. No, I have to work. I have to work. How can I leave television? How can I leave my projects? I will disappear. No. And suddenly I let it all go.
I dropped it.
I let go because I fell in love with Isidore.
You're slowing me down.
I've never meditated or practiced the Isha system with a partner. Honestly, I'm not that conscious. It's more intuitive, but when I consider doing so, I think, wow, how cool to do this with your partner. How will it impact the relationship?
the really important thing is to be present in the moment. And that's something that I would like to learn on a personal level, how to deepen that during the 6 months, how to be present and enjoy the present moment because I escape by thinking about the future or punishing myself for something I didn't do in the past. Or why didn't I? You know what I mean.
Hello, welcome.
Hello. Oh,
Hello, Brenda.
hello.
Welcome.
Brenda. You
Welcome.
are?
I'm Romy.
Romy.
Oh. The beautiful thing about the
Hi.
6 months is it's complete.
Good to see you.
It's like a cycle. You see people going into the process, everyone's very happy, and then there comes a moment where everyone contracts, and all the rubbish starts to come up, and all the projection, and all the fears, and we have 100 people here, and they're all reflecting different aspects of society, different aspects of the family, all the places that we judge in our lives. And when we embrace all of our internal judgments and we start to liberate them, we start to see that the world isn't as we think it is, it's as we are.
Before this life, I was on a spiritual quest for 25 years. And in the first year I spent with Isha, I found what I had spent the last 25 years searching the entire world for. My voice these days is a voice that accompanies many, many students because I am, as many people have said for some time, I am Isha's echo in Spanish. That's my voice.
We were taught fear. All of our backpacks are full of fear. And this false idea that this will bring me happiness. But it never did. It just weighed me down. I had another experience and another experience. And this experience was meant to bring me happiness. And this experience was meant to make me successful. And this experience was meant to make me feel loved. And I did it. I did all of it. But there's something missing. So I have to take this backpack off because I can't fly with it. If you can't spread your wings, you can't fly. You can't spread your wings if you're holding onto your backpack. And then you'll start to see love. It's in everything. It's freeing. It flows. It accepts. It embraces. This is what I want to be. The big yes. I talk a lot with the students in the 6 months about consciousness, and I call this darshan. And this is where I share answers to profound questions about consciousness, and this opens the hearts of people. They start to understand more about what's actually transpiring in their lives. The things based in fears start to melt. Initially, they don't understand the answers to the questions, but after the 6 months, the answers become their experience.
Disconnecting from my life in Paraguay and my job was absolutely instantaneous. Yesterday, I left all my group chats to avoid knowing or getting involved in what is happening, and well, I'm totally disconnected. I try to be in the present. That's what we practice every day. I still don't feel that this is real, that I'll be here for 6 months. Oh, I want to go back home, but I know that being here will bring me great satisfaction.
For me, arriving here was like arriving to a space that is both external and internal. Very, very nice, very peaceful. I immediately felt that I could connect and that I could go deeper and finally rest.
It was honestly like coming home. There were some feelings, but I think I had a detox of emotions that were super negative that passed quickly these last few days.
This process removes everything, all the deeply buried trash and all the stress that has been stored within. The objective of service is to learn to maintain that experience that we are cultivating through unification and throughout the 6-month program to achieve inner peace. We stop every half hour for a little bit, for a minute. We call it the minute of consciousness. So the objective is to be present in whatever you are doing. So that's when I started to open up in that moment. I started to open up about not protecting my image of I am fine, and to see a lot of things I can still let go of, in particular with my need to do everything right. And of being good enough for everyone else, and to trust in myself more.
I know through my own experience that I was very shut down as a human. I was always strong and continued. So I had all of these emotions, all the deaths in my life, all the traumatic experiences, even my adoption. I just stuff. Until I was up to here with stress. And everyone comes like that. They're full of stress, they're full of emotions because they don't want to feel. So within the meetings and the use of the facets, all of these emotions start to emerge. And it's so important that people connect with their emotions and they let all that rubbish go. Because once they let it go, they start to become empty and they start to vibrate in a different frequency.
Right now, the cello is like an escape. Okay. As if I were going back to Colombia. Like my refuge from myself, from being with myself. I have to let go and do nothing and stop doing what I used to do.
Okay, yeah, it's an instrument. A piece of wood. Or in my case, a piece of metal. Yes, you can play and people listen, wow, how great, and all that, but it's an attachment. It's how we identify ourselves. I am a trumpet player, we musicians sometimes have that relationship with our instruments, respecting it like a god and all that. It's okay, but either way, it's a box.
Listening to Johanna, gave me goosebumps because I get emotional because my husband was a violinist. Musicians are so disciplined, so demanding of themselves that they get sick. My husband died from cancer and I kind of blame the music. I mean, I love music, but I feel his rigidity he had and the need to be so disciplined and playing all the time made him miss out on other simple things in life. And maybe I wonder why he would hurt himself.
That was so much fun, guys.
Great
Can't wait
class,
to see you guys
everyone.
again.
Okay, I'll see you soon.
Did you enjoy it?
This is
Such
going to
a
be great.
good night.
Yes, you're going to be so
See you
great.
next
You look
Tuesday.
great. You're ready.
You and me?
This is
great.
exciting.
Day. We'll laugh as life is too short. It's normal to be scared of the unknown. We'll laugh as life is too short.
Guys, we'll go out in 10 minutes, okay? You heard? Yeah? 10 minutes. No, not 10, 7.
The food connected me with the many nights when I had nothing to eat. Of course, I mean, we have all felt hunger, but it's like I started to remember all the nights when I didn't eat or when we ate once a day at home. And it was normal for me, but it generated sadness. A lot of sadness.
You know, the thing is with food, it's like any other addiction. People use it to stuff their emotions. And because you can't smoke and drink in the 6 months process, people have a tendency to turn to the food to try to stuff things. And that's another thing that's very important, that people have to see that need to be constantly eating needs to be replaced with the need to be moving. We need to move emotions. We can't just keep covering everything by stuffing it with food.
I realized something the other day, and it was like I became aware of something I hadn't realized before. I lost weight here, and there are times that I think I look good, and other times I criticize my body. And but the other day I realized I was like, I'm happy with my body. And I saw a point very clearly where my mind said it's like my subconscious, because I didn't even, it was if I said to myself, you'll be okay. And it's time to go up again. It's time to gain some weight. But it was so very clear, so clear, as if it was an inner decision more powerful than myself, because I have been gaining and losing weight since I was 18. I gain 30 pounds, I lose 30 pounds, and it fluctuates. And I felt that clearly, like that, not even in my mind, something deep inside said, okay, it's time to gain some weight again. And it was so clear, but I felt that it was some kind of a force, that there was a force very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm scared that it will maybe it will be like an automatic boycott, or I don't know
The
how to
good news
say
is
it.
you're realizing it.
As you elevate your vibration, all of those circles you have, they impede your focus. So when you have a clear focus, when you're absolutely aligned without the internal doubts, you create exactly what you need. But like this, because often we desire something, but we have so many reasons why we cannot have. We put out the desire, but it hits against all these walls. But as we transform our vibration, as we start to liberate all the rubbish, what happens? Our creating capabilities are much clearer. And it's much quicker. Things start to happen like this. And you'll start to see that.
Who hasn't arrived yet?
Look, we're missing Marina Cavalieri. She hasn't bought
Marina
her
isn't coming in the
her
morning?
plane ticket for the afternoon.
In the afternoon.
Yeah. And
Yep.
Maricel Coutinho, Lita Vera.
Lita hasn't arrived?
No, she hasn't. In fact, yesterday I asked her that when she would be coming, and it turns out that she went to the doctor because you know how she was undergoing medical treatment. Because of that, Lita doesn't have an arrival date yet. Lita
doesn't have a date.
No.
You know, the world's crying out for a change. We cling to our ideas, our yuppie dreams, and then we see, but there has to be something more. We can have everything and we're still not happy. It's like, what to do? And people are starting to realize that success isn't all about accumulating. It's about what I'm giving and what I'm experiencing.
Bring all your pending marketing files quickly.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
I'll bring them to you as soon as possible.
Okay, quickly. I've wanted to do the 6 months for a long time. Many years ago, I organized the company and I organized my life. My daughters they did this. Nicole, my youngest, did it when she was 18, and Yvonne when she was 22. Since they did the 6 months, they keep asking, when is it your turn? When are you going? It's your turn. You have to go. You have to do the 6 months. So then the phrase that best describes what they're saying now is finally, finally. You are giving yourself that space these next few months.
We have a shift in the kitchen in which we cook all the meals for the day. And during the service for the next 6 months, what we try to do is to discover how to be present in each moment with what we are doing. It is funny, if you go outside, people are unifying. We do the same thing, but with movement. It's about finding that space they are looking for out there, but while in action.
So simple to be consciousness in action. It's so complicated and exhausting not to be. Even when you're creating, even when you're in a business, you have to be present. You could be present and do 10 things at once. You can multitask in the moment if you're present. Much easier than if you're not. Consciousness in action. Consciousness in action. It's everywhere. I'm focused on the highest point. I'm here now.
It's so nice and cold. Hello? Maria, can you open the door?
Hello.
Hello.
Finally.
Oh.
You're here.
Oh, very good. Oh, yes.
How are you feeling, Juju? You happy to be here? Were you scared to come?
I was a little scared. I didn't want to leave important things unresolved. I didn't want that. I didn't want to be here worrying about things over there. I'm tired, fat, everything.
So you're going to go back thin, divine.
That's my expectation. 30 pounds lighter, enlightened, happy.
The first two, the final result. 14 kilos less, enlightened and happy. Because she's already rich. Yeah, so she only needs that. Very good. It's done.
It's done?
Yeah.
It's a deal.
With your back straight, our eyes are closed. Relax. Deep breaths.
moment you let go of control, you relax. The moment you relax, you fall into consciousness. We're always looking for something. Just let go. Just be. You can't force meditation. You can't force silence. Just let go and allow. Consciousness is a part of faith because you have to trust. At some point, you have to let go of the control and just trust. You understand you don't have control. And it's so great to let go of it and just allow.
I was very young when I left home, and I felt loneliness, to be accompanied in everything, in everything I learned. It was easier to separate from everyone and do it alone. But now I find that I needed my family.
Since the treatment for the freezing period and the process we went through to get pregnant, that didn't work. My period went haywire. It was very irregular from 28 days or 41 or 30, crazy. So then we couldn't figure out what days I was fertile. So we were trying to go for it and we hadn't gone anywhere. We haven't done anything. So then I picked up my phone and said, instead of wondering if it's because of the treatment or not, I'll write to the gynecologist. And I wrote and asked if it was due to the treatment and if it's reversible and what we can do. And he said that no. He said that getting pregnant wasn't impossible but would be difficult.
We place our attention at the base of the spine. We breathe in and think Om Unity, while we go up the spine to the top of the head. And now we will think about praising love. Praise love for this moment in its perfection. And let's start opening our eyes very slowly. As always, we open them slightly. And we bring our attentions to the heart. And now we think, praise love for this moment in its perfection.
We are going to the farm with a group of students. We're going to plant lettuce and broccoli. We are going to plant seedlings, and we're going to check on the lettuce we planted the other day. So we're going to start planting now. All right, let's have 8 people here. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 4 beds. You can start planting one on each side, and we'll teach you how to do it in a minute. Basically, we should leave 40 centimeters between each seed, okay?
What do we make the holes with?
With your fingers.
With my fingers? We don't have shovels?
Oh, beautiful. This is exciting.
Very beautiful. It takes you inward.
The simplest thing that exists is the drop of water that falls on the dry soil. And the land receives it, and that allows the growth of the life that is ready to bloom. The same thing happens internally for us.
I'm still connected. I'm still handling some things I left pending. I'm still distracted. I still have a lot of stress, etc., etc. But I feel like a fish in water. I know what I came looking for, and I know what this place has. This system enables you to at least stabilize consciousness, to find a state of peace, to be in unity, which means to be happy.
Wow, lots of mandarins, lots and lots and lots because I love them. The first 2 weeks were the most difficult, I think. At one point, I had this attack where I thought, I want to get out of here. I felt like I was touching on something deep, and that scared me. I was abstaining from everything, even from masturbating. So I didn't have anything to hold on to, none of my normal vices like food or sex, or my usual distractions of movies or chats or work responsibilities. So I expressed that. I moved the anger, the rage, the anxiety, and I did it again, went through it again. But I feel like it'll come back. I don't know how long this will continue, but it is hard.
This process is for brave people because you really have to look at yourself. And the last thing we want to do is open our closets and have a really good look at the things that we judge in our lives.
What is bothering me is that I'm tired of talking about being gay. It bores me. I get bored. And I think it's kind of dense with all the constant explanations and all analysis and all that. And I don't know. Besides all the analysis, I just wanted to tell you that.
All humans are afraid of exposing themselves, of being vulnerable, and for some people, it's too much.
I don't know, just yesterday I was thinking and I remembered how I used to feel judged by my family, by my grandfather, my dad, and by people in general, honestly, and feeling weird, feeling like, oh, there's something wrong. There's something where I will always think that way, which is what I connected with, which is what I connected to yesterday.
At some moment, it's like the first drop of water in the desert when the answer comes from their hearts. And it's like a realization, oh, I understand. And I've been saying the same thing for months, years, and you don't understand. But when the answer comes from within, when the realization comes from within, it's permanent. And that's the job of a teacher, to just keep reinforcing the truth until it comes from within the student and they realize, oh, it's true.
My dad came to spend his birthday, which was yesterday. And when he asked about the process and all that, I was just like, I got straight to the point and I told him that thanks to the process, I understood why he left. And just like that, without holding back, I told him I understood everything. I mean, honestly, I felt his desperation and how that situation made him act the way that he did. And it was tough, but very beautiful. Yes. And I received a message from him, which was absolutely amazing. He said, "You are beautiful, and I'm very proud of you." He never said that to me before until now.
Yesterday, my mom came.
The hair's gone.
Yes, it is. My hair's gone and my family arrived. Very unexpected. The day before they called me because they were with my aunt and uncle in Uruguay. And when they told me they were coming, I felt scared. None of them practiced the system, and although I feel great, I thought they were going to judge me. And I moved past it, and, well, the teachers told me to be super vulnerable. And I was amazed yesterday. We went out for a cup of coffee, that's all. How understanding my aunt and uncle were. My whole family. I was scared to show them the center. Everything I showed them, I was like, yeah, we have meetings here. And I didn't know what they were going to say. Look at that. Like, there are 150 people lying on mats. Like, I don't know. You know?
Yes, very weird.
And they would say, very good. How great. This was really necessary. I couldn't believe it. And then I got so emotional because when we talked, we all appreciate our family so much. And I realized that we talked about what unites us. And it was a lot of unconditional love from my parents, from my grandparents, from everybody. And it was incredible not having seen that I had this for my entire life. And for the first time ever, we were talking about it and appreciating it. And it was a great gift. And in fact, my aunt even told me, you have given us a great gift.
Aw. Hmm.
And I got very emotional. Well, my aunts and mom as well. Just as I was feeling that, and I also feel just a little bit of sadness as well, that I'm only just starting to appreciate that I already had that my whole life, a lot of love, and to finally realize that and feel like now I can open up this way with my parents, with my family, and feeling that all that time is gone. For this to happen, and now I feel like they're older, and
Yeah, but you're not.
no.
You can't see the love till you're loving yourself. And it was always there. But when we don't love ourselves, like Grace, she doesn't think her mother loves her. Her mother never stops talking about it. She adores and worships her. And she thinks Mummy doesn't love me. By the end of the process, she'll see how much she's always loved her. Huh? Great. They must be so happy. I feel happy for you too. Nice.
These past few days, I experienced within my consciousness, within that emptiness, it was like there was a lot of consciousness, and they were smiling, so happy. I mean, what you were saying about when someone dies, you find them in here. And I understood that.
You could have worked in soap opera, you know.
I don't know.
Really, you would have been good. You're not quite convincing, but you're okay. You know, you've got to go deeper, because you're always acting.
I felt like talking about it.
I can't feel anything. And if I can't feel it, it's not real. He tells me something, I cry. She tells me something, my heart expands. You talk, and I'm like, I wish I had a remote control so I could change the channel. You've got to stop performing. You're not being real. And I'm sorry if the camera people think I'm a witch, because she's crying, but I can feel the difference. Look, she's smiling now.
How embarrassing.
Grace just about said, cut.
Since we got separate rooms with Isidore, we've made love once.
Mm-hmm.
When all of the stress had passed after the 3rd month, we started to feel a connection again, like that fluidity that was missing, and we started to communicate again. So on my birthday, he said, well, maybe today is a fertile day. Well, if your cycle is a 28-day cycle, And, well, I went to see him in his bedroom.
Sorry?
I went to see you in your room, and we made love, right? Well, so today I'm on day number 40,
Around 46,
46
I
of
would
the
say,
cycle,
right?
and I've been feeling the same, where I think I'll be getting my period for the past 2 weeks, breasts, ovaries, but nothing happened. So Isidore tells me, take a test. And I'm like, no, what for? I've done it 1,000 times, and it's impossible for me to get pregnant having had sex just one day at the center. Like, we don't know my cycle. And I didn't want to do it because I was afraid of the same, like, it's about letting go, like we talked about. So then yesterday we went and bought the test. and I was going to take it this morning, which is this test. And Isidore asked me if I did it, and I told him I didn't because I was nervous and I wanted to talk about it first, But in reality, I took it.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to see the result because I am very nervous.
Oh.
Yes. But
It says yes?
yes, but I'm like blocked.
Wow.
That means she's pregnant.
I don't know. I'm like
Yes. Yes.
disconnected, and I think I'm not.
Yes,
I'm just blocked.
two lines means pregnant in most tests.
Well, no, I just can't believe it. Honestly, I still don't dare to think about it.
In the last film, the documentary we watched about the clouds, it mentions wisdom. Wisdom is the character that develops with the application of intelligence in our own experience. It's the intellect.
Of what? Ask again because I mustn't be that smart. Okay, so what do you mean that wisdom develops by?
So wisdom is the character that develops with the application of intelligence in our own experience, obtaining conclusions, furthermore, judgments.
You know what? I have not got the foggiest idea what you're talking about. I can't answer because I don't understand. I don't understand.
I think he is repeating the definition of wisdom from somewhere. It would be great to put into context who defined wisdom in that way.
Well, Wikipedia.
Oh no. You sit down.
That was great.
And I'll explain. Beyond Wikipedia. Knowledge is known. You can find it in Wikipedia. You can find it in Google. You can learn it through your own experience. But we're going to another level. We're going to a level that you can't Google, that you can't find in Wikipedia, and it's called omniscience. And it comes from the heart. And it's beyond knowledge. Because it comes from the unknown. And that's where the real answers are. And you know what's within your own answers? Fearlessness. Absolute. No question. It's that. You never ask another question. You don't ask someone if they think it's right. That's the truth. And it stops this. And the heart does this. That's what you're looking for.
I don't know, like I feel like something is changing in my family. I don't know how much. Recently, yesterday, I read a WhatsApp message from my sister where she was talking to my dad, and they always just fight. And they were opening up. Like my sister was telling my dad, "Look, Dad, I feel like this and this and this," and my dad apologized to her. And they're always clashing, you know? And my sister said, "Well, now that you're leaving, I'll have to start getting along with Dad because you're always mediating between us two." And so I feel like this is also creating an openness within my family, you know? And, you know, it's beautiful. Hmm.
All right, we are going to move forward in a line as if we were a giant rake, and that rake is cleaning everything. And what are we cleaning up? We are cleaning everything that is not natural. Flashlights, plastics, cigarettes, which unfortunately there is a lot of, and that's what attracts the sea animals the most, and they can get sick.
Let's close our eyes. Breathing in, let's anchor. Om, the profound depth of being. And we're going to go down, 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 down. Down into that space of consciousness. This is the place that we're focused on. You must be one-pointedly focused on consciousness. Everything else is on the surface. I move it and I go back to this space. Om, the profound depth of being. Om, the profound depth of being. And breathing in, I come up into my heart where I become the witness. Om, the witness. One-pointedly focused in this space. Everything else that transpires externally is transient. The sounds, the movement, the thoughts, the emotions, the body, all is transient. I witness the movement and I stay anchored here now, in the witness, in the consciousness. And slowly I open my eyes.
You know what, Valentina? You have some very strange habits. I already told her several times. I told her, dig deep, be responsible. You can't blame your parents anymore because when I was 7, my dad or my mom. And I said, with all the work you've done so far, you have enough responsibility to make different choices, you know? You are just so full of judgment. Everything you see is bad, 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 very, very negative. It's terrible. You think bad about everything, even a little ant. I mean, the straw that broke the camel's back? She says, she opens the closet. These clothes smell. But like that, I mean, we have like 50 pieces of clothes hanging there. This one smells. And I take it out. It's my blouse. I smell it and I say, this does not smell. I say, Lillian, do you smell it? Lillian gets it, sniffs. And she says, no, it smells like your perfume, she says. It smells like you, Lillian said. And I say, Valentina, is it your nose or is it your heart? And then I thought, this girl must have smelled all the clothes in the closet. She smelled Lillian's and mine to be able to say this item smells bad. So I said, no, she is truly, honestly, something is going on. Either you're not letting go or, I really think, I don't know, you have signs of being bipolar. Terrible. Very negative-minded. What's wrong with her?
To pretend that everything is okay all the time is just so exhausting. And when, I see you all furious and scared because I was when my mom used to get furious, so I get scared, but I don't know. When I see you on your phone managing your business, I feel the same thing. You're abandoning yourself, putting the outside first instead of yourself.
It's hard for me to hear that. I know that. I receive some of that, but the rest is just, she's very manipulative, and
If you don't forgive them, you're creating the damage because you're still resented. You have to move the emotion. You have to let go. You have to make your well-being more important than your resentment and you having reason and being a victim. And if you look throughout history, greatness always has a different choice. Jesus, Buddha, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Madre Teresa, and the list goes on and on and on. Nelson Mandela, they always had a higher choice. Or no? So you decide. Which group do you want to be in? The mass? To be different.
I feel a huge separation from my father because he was very violent. He was absent for so many years. He doesn't live in Colombia anymore. He's in prison in Italy. And, well, I've been able to see that I have a lot of guilt. There are areas in which I feel guilty because of the life he has now. We distance ourselves for many years after hurting each other so much. I don't know how to embrace that. I mean, it's like I feel a very deep desire to be able to do it, but it's like he's the opposite of what I want. I'd be so proud if he sold candy on the street, but for him to do those things, to take advantage of people so I just don't know how to embrace that.
You will. You'll see the perfection in everything. And you'll love him unconditionally. Because you have judgment with what he did. But you'll release all of that.
Well, first of all, since yesterday, I've been feeling that like I'm not pregnant anymore.
That sensation of sadness, that I can't do anything. I don't know how to explain it to you, you know?
I did the ultrasound, and we couldn't see anything. But he said that, well, the diagnosis is a potential miscarriage. Before the ultrasound, I cleaned myself and there was blood, but I didn't say anything to Isidore, so as not to frighten him.
I don't know. I feel like I'm a little blocked, you know? I feel a little block. Yeah.
I wanted to scream. I was so desperate.
Everyone just keeps asking. And I don't have an answer. I was just flying so high with the idea of being a father that
I think the thing that people struggle with the most in the process is the vulnerability. You know, we hate to think that we're going to lose approval. We're scared to express how we feel about someone else because they might not love us. And it's very important to walk through that and for people to realize that we're using each other to project so we can liberate internally. And for some people, that's extremely hard because we do reflect to each other, because we're using like our root stresses, the things from our families are starting to move and we're projecting them externally. And it's difficult for people to do that. But as time goes by, they start to realize the importance of doing it so they can liberate it. So in the beginning, that's the most conflictive thing, to expose ourselves, to feel vulnerable, to feel less than perfect of the idea of what perfection is. But then we start to realize that when we love ourselves, it's just okay to be ourselves. No matter how ridiculous that may look or how amazing that may look, it's all the same. We can't make a mistake.
And then my mom sent me a message that said, "I miss you, honey." And since I've come here, I haven't talked to her because I can't. I mean, I want to be able to respond and say, "Oh, Mom, me too," but I can't. I have like so much resentment. I don't want to talk to her. I feel that
So, are you willing to do something different? Really? When are you going to call her? Ah, that's how it is. When?
I don't know.
And so I feel a little bit like I felt at the beginning, like when I started, and I felt like I was starting all over again.
Any exercise like seeing that again. And like I understand that part of it, it's not about being violent, you know, but it's about the feeling.
that pain in my stomach was exactly that. The following day, in the morning, I connected with sadness, and the pain left me.
I wanted to say that I miss you a lot too. I just called to say a quick hello. Please tell my dad I miss him too, okay?
Bravo!
Woo!
Yeah.
Are you ready? Are you ready now? people change. I need to know, I know that I can. Leaning into love, she leaned back into me. I breathe to let the love in. I sing to let the love out. Can people change?
It's called witnessing. And this is how we want you to live. This is how we want to live. Not doing, being. And when you live in consciousness, you're always being within the doing. The heart with eyes. The words without thought. Everything comes from that depth. Everything comes from that silence. Everything's born of that silence.
The truth is, I really want to talk to him. I mean, I feel excited just imagining I'm hearing him, listening to his voice, you know? I feel like I'm ready to tell him that I love him. I forgive him. I forgave myself, and I have never said those words. From me to him, I've never said it, so then I really want him to hear them.
How can I help you?
Good morning. I'm calling on behalf of Joanna Ballesteros Rodriguez, who is the daughter of one of your prisoners.
Definitely the most beautiful thing about this whole process was that I healed my relationship with my father.
All right.
Tell me the name of the prisoner.
Of course. Omar. It's
What's the last name?
okay.
Ballesteros?
Ballesteros.
Okay.
All right.
yes.
Yes.
Colombian.
Give me 1 minute, please. I'll be right back.
Yes.
He also went through a difficult time. He also grew up in a difficult environment. He also felt needy. And the only difference is that, well, I made a different choice. And so this whole process of healing made me see how much I love him.
He has to call you back. It's like it's not possible for you to call him because he's the one that has to call you.
Okay. Well,
What I work on the most was the moment when, oh, it's emotional. But every time I think about it, it gets to me. The tears don't stop. It's when my mom went into intensive care. Well, it was really hard for me.
I am a little afraid to go back to reality because I have, I don't know, I have expectations of what I could be outside of here. If I can keep maintaining this calmness, everything I learned, I want to stay here. I have the desire to come back, and I've even had the desire to become a teacher. And it's a strong feeling because as we get closer to the end, I really feel like staying.
And I keep crying about that moment now.
I also miss my family very much. I want to see my mom, my dad, my brothers. Like I have begun to value being with them a lot more. Ask them things about when I was born, about my grandpa, a lot of things I want to share with them. And in general, I'm so happy that I think that by the 5th month, I found what I came looking for. Yeah.
You cry, and it leaves until the tears are no more.
Looking back, I now see what happened was super intense. It was an incredible creation. Beautiful in the end. Now we can see the beauty of it all, and I really feel I can see the beauty in everything that happened. The love that was there, that is within us, what we were able to do.
I feel like I connected to things deep inside. And for example, around the 4th month, I had an experience like the deepest experience I've had since I've started practicing the system and started to realize that, like, I started to see the protection, the protection. I saw protection, like how I was closed off, but I didn't know why.
I don't know how to explain it with words. It's a little difficult, but I feel closer than before. And like, I feel that now we really share something now, like from individual places, but we have like a common shelter of consciousness and all of that help for us to grow together.
Like, I stopped trying to be the perfect kid, the good kid, or the one, or being the best. That was what I let go. Trying to be the best and just be myself. At the end of the movie about the clouds, you'd said something that stuck with me. You're talking about all the different stages, and you said, don't stop until you get it. And that's always been on my mind, and I wanted to ask you, my question is, what do you mean when you say that?
Full responsibility. And that's enlightenment. I'm talking about enlightenment. I'm always talking about enlightenment. It's the only thing I talk about. They're just different ways of approaching. But I'm always talking about unity. People talk about spirituality. But once you have it, you stop looking. Don't stop until you stop. Enlightened people don't look. You can't look what you are because you're everything. Don't stop until you become that. I'm responsibility. I am that. There's nothing but that. Our focus is that when the students leave, they leave with peace and joy that they can trust in and they can flow with in life. So that all their habitual habits and addictions of fighting with the outside or needing to have extreme control, all of these things they can let go of so that they can start to enjoy every aspect of their lives, that they can flow. And also when they go home to their families or their children, that they perceive through the eyes of love. They're not still fighting externally and rejecting aspects of themselves. Because when I love myself, I love everyone.
For me, the 6 months were a journey back to simplicity.
That space of inner peace that can't be taken from you by nothing or no one. You can't buy it, you can't find it outside. It's just yours alone and you carry it with you all day. And it doesn't matter what is happening. You may be sad, happy, angry, whatever it is, it will always be there.
And now I know the only thing I have to do is enjoy every moment.
Oh, yeah. I am really happy here, having found what I was searching for. Finding myself and recovering something that I was missing, which was myself.
What I learned most here is the only thing we need to do is love ourselves exactly as we are, because there's nothing wrong with us.
Well, I feel like another person, different. My fears have diluted, and I see myself as being ready. I'm ready now to make decisions in my life, to finally take the reins of my life. I just want to be happy.
I think it should be compulsory that all humans do the 6 months. Because to love yourself is fundamental in life. If you don't love yourself, you cannot love your life. If you don't love yourself, you cannot give that love. If you don't love yourself, you can't empower other people. You can't say, look, you are amazing. You can be the best of who you are. You are unlimited if you don't know that yourself. And especially like with parents, with children, how often do we project our fears? How often do we control under the guise of wanting to keep them safe? But really, we want to keep ourselves safe. So when we have that love, that fearlessness, we can give that to humanity. And life should be lived from a place of joy, not a place of fear. That's not life. Life should be embraced in each moment, joyfully, from a place of abundance and giving. And this is the point. When I'm abundant, I go into the world and I give. When I'm small and I'm needy, I go into the world and I take. Who do you want to be? Take responsibility. 6 months, new life.